Hi guys, it's Tamara here from Create Your Future. I am a law of assumption coach here as well as a licensed therapist. And today I am here with a new video. Finally, I'm going to explain my take on states, what they are, and why this is the key to manifesting any desire you have ever wanted, okay? So maybe some of you have seen my previous video in which I explained about my journey, how I got to this point, how I discovered the law of assumption, Neville Goddard, Murphy, and the rest of the guys. And I wanted to share some insights. So when I first started, learning about the law of assumption, which was almost 10 years ago, some of the most popular methods back in the day were 55 times 5, scripting the same information 55 times, 5 days in a row, or you had 77 times 7, and similar techniques. And I did that for a while. And not to say that, those techniques did not work. I did get some results, you could say. I saw some movement. I did get a text message from a friend. I did experience some glimpses of, okay, this might work, this makes sense. But none of those really stuck. I would experience something and then it would go away, back and forth. I could never get any long-lasting results with any of the techniques I found at a time. And then I decided to dig deeper into Neville and his work. And I realized that essentially why none of those techniques didn't work or did not work to the extent that I wanted to was because I never truly changed myself. My identity, or state of being, as Neville Goddard used to call it, remained exactly the same. So as long as you are still the same person as you were those 5,000 affirmations before, or 10 pages of scripting, 10 millions of affirmations or visualizations, if you are the same person as you were before doing any of these, trust me, you're probably not going to see any long-lasting effects. Which is why I'm not somebody who normally advises, recommends robotic affirming to anybody. Not that it cannot work, it definitely can. Just like any technique, you can even make your own technique. But there's nothing robotic about being aware of who you're being, who your SP is, for example. What is your relationship with the world outside of you at any single moment in time? There's nothing robotic about that. In fact, it's the exact opposite. This is pure awareness. Your consciousness. So this key question here is, who are you aware of being moment to moment every single day in your life? So it was never about the techniques, about how many times you do X, Y, and Z. It's not, okay, you do this, this, and this in order to get something out there. No, it was always about who you were before you decided to shift the state, to shift your identity, and to accept that from this point onwards, you're going to see and experience the world within as well as without in a different way. So whenever I have coaching with my clients, I like to, give them some examples and exercises of how they can shift their state based upon their needs and what's natural for them. It is all very individual. So I cannot tell you, you have to shift your state by affirming this many times, in the morning. There is no such thing, guys. There is no magic technique. Say these 4 magical words and everything is going to pop up in your reality. It doesn't exist. So trust me, whoever claims that if you do their technique and only there, and if you do this for X, Y, and Z amount of days or time, you are 100% going to get your manifestation. That's a clickbait, in my opinion. That's not real. And the reason is very simple. Guys, we're all very different. We're all very different. Our starting points are very different. This is why you can never, ever compare 2 people and their journeys. Ever. Maybe one person was already aware of the fact that their SP, I'm going to use SP stories as an example, that their SP loves them, but maybe at the same time they also held a story that they're not prioritized. But they are in a relationship with the person. Whereas the person over here was living in a state of, pure rejection. There is no SP, they don't love me, they never choose me, they don't want to talk to me, they're nowhere to be found. You cannot expect these 2 people to have the exact same journey in order to get where they need to be. Right? Essentially, how these 2 people enter a state is going to be what's natural for them. Person A might feel that it's natural to have inner conversations and choose that to remind themselves of who they are and to get into the state over and over again. At the same time, the person B might feel like visualizing is more natural for them. They remember things in visuals. So for them, the way to enter a different state of being is going to be by visualizing, reminding themselves of who they are in the visual form. In my case, I'm a self-talker. I normally like to remind myself by thinking of who I am. But that's just me. So, guys, I will never, ever tell you, you have to do this in order to get into the state because only this works and nothing else. No. It really depends on what feels natural for you. Going back to what state is. Simply explained, your state is your identity, the character, your mindset, the person you're choosing to be. Your state is what generates everything, including your thoughts, opinions, your feelings, negative feelings like fears and doubts as well, actions, and also desires. This is why when you have 2 different people living in 2 different states of being, they're never going to have the same desire. In the previous example, person A, their desire is probably going to be, I want to be prioritized by my SP. And that is a state they're going to occupy from, now. Whereas the person B, who's living in a different state of being, is going to have a different desire totally. Their desire might be something like, I want to communicate with my SP again. Maybe I want to be friends with them first. That is totally natural, guys. When somebody tells you, you have to pick your end goal and stick to the end, like go to the very end, don't get confused and feel feel like, okay, this means I have to get into the state of being married to this person or be in a full-blown relationship with this person. No. Your end state, your end goal is going to vary depending on the state that you have been occupying. Because the state generates it all. So if right now you're feeling like your desire is genuinely to maybe communicate with the SP on a daily basis, or maybe go on a date, it's okay. It's okay. You should totally go to that end for now and occupy the state, the identity that says, I am a person who is communicating with my SP every single day. Or I am the person who is going on a date with my SP. I hope that makes sense, guys. So, going back to the state of being, your identity is who you are. We shift, in and out of different states every single day. Right now, I am experiencing a state of being a coach and a therapist while I'm making this video, right? I'm interacting with it, with the world that proves to me that I am this person, that I'm a coach and a therapist. But what happens when I finish recording this video and when I finish the coaching sessions for today? Am I going to suddenly occupy a state of, well, because I'm not making a video or coaching right now, does this mean I'm not a therapist? I'm not a coach? No, absolutely not. So guys, your state is something in your awareness. You don't have to actively engage with anything in the 3D to prove yourself that you are the person you claim to be. You don't have to actively engage with the SP in the 3D world to know up here in your awareness that you are somebody who is loved or prioritized and who talks to their SP every single day. If that's the person you want to be, claim it. The outside world, the 3D world, does reflect our states. I cannot say state of being because, as I said, we shift in and out of different states all the time. So guess what happens? What happens is the world reflects not just one state you were occupying for 5 minutes, maybe yesterday, but all these different states of being we have been occupying most of the time. Which is why probably some of you, or most of you, have experienced, hot and cold behavior from an SP, different versions of the SP, different versions of your circumstances. This is why. Because you're occupying different states, and naturally, 3D shows the proof of not just a single state, but all these different states you have been occupying most of the time. All these different identities you embodied as your I am, as awareness. I hope that makes sense, guys. So surface level manifesting is all about, okay, I'm gonna affirm, this many times at this hour on this day and get X, Y, and Z. It may get you results to some extent. In my experience and experience with many people I have coached so far, non-lasting results. If you want long-lasting results and a serious flip, a serious change in your 3D world, as well as within, is you have to work on your state of being, which is your core identity, in order to change who you are first, and therefore experience the world differently. Okay? I hope this was educational and helpful for you guys. By the way, I am having a sale at the moment. The code is prefer20. So if you need, guys, some help, if you want to practice shifting your state, getting down to the bottom of who you want to be, what identities you want to occupy to manifest whatever it is you want to experience in the 3D world, come and seek me out for coaching. Thank you so much for today, guys. Have a nice week and see you guys next Thursday.